All right, welcome to day 8 of our 30-day AI prompt challenge for remodelers. And we got another good one here. So this one's all about creating SOPs. And here's why SOPs matter. When you are the main guy and you're on site all the time, you know them in the back of your head. That's what made you successful. That's what's helped you land more jobs, get referrals, because you just instinctively know, do this, do that. This is what I do first thing in the morning. This is what I do when we're closing up for the end of the day. Now, we're talking about growing the business, right? Stop being self-employed and start bringing on people to do the business for you so that you can manage the business and have a business. And in order to do that, you have to create SOPs, standard operating procedures. There isn't a company out there, not a franchise, not a successful company that has more than one location that doesn't have to create these. Even if you go get a job at a Subway, there's a checklist. This is how you open up the store, right? This is how you prep to make subs. This is how you clean. This is how you close down the store at the end of the night. Everything is an SOP. It's a checklist. And they do that so that they can multiply and have numerous stores everywhere. And it's very easy to bring on a new person, put them in the role of, hey, you're going to open the store tomorrow. Great. I've never done it before. Okay, well, we'll show you once, right? Okay, great. And then maybe we'll have you do it a second time with someone. And then now it's the third time you're going to do it, and I'll be here just in case you need help. After that, boom, you got it. Here you go. Here's the checklist so that you don't have to worry about forgetting things, right? So in your remodeling business, you want to use a similar approach. The best way to teach, again, is you demonstrate it, have the person watch. Second time, you and the other person work together. You're both doing the thing. The third time, they do it while you're on the side watching. You're right there by their side. Say, no, you got this. I'm here if you need anything. And then you turn them loose the fourth time. Okay. So here we are. They've done it 4 times. So now you want to provide people with the SOPs. And you should already have these because you demonstrated the first 3 times how you follow them yourself and say, hey, this is what I go through on a daily basis. Here's my checklist, right? And so now you can create checklists for every position. If you have a warehouse or an office, you can create a checklist for the person that's going to be first one to that location, right? Opening it up, closing it. If you have someone who answers phones and does stuff around the office, you create a checklist. That way, if your admin, something happens, you have to bring in a new admin, here's the checklist. This is what you do on a daily basis, right? Everyone has a checklist. And over time, most people will memorize the checklist. However, I would still suggest that as a company practice, someone is following the checklist. That way things don't get forgotten. We live in I call it the distracted age, right? People are always doing something other than what their main thing they're doing in combination, right? They're either on the phone talking to someone while they're trying to do something. They're watching a video. They're texting, right? Very rarely do you find people today that just do one thing at a time and stay focused. And we all know that multitasking just leads to tons of errors and problems and oversights and mishaps. So that's what's great about these checklists. All right, so let's get right into it. We will have a quick session tonight. So here we are. This is day 8. All right, we'll fix that. So here's what we're working on, right? We want to have what we call a checklist. And the way we're doing this is it's the first on site in the morning, okay? And we do that so that whoever shows up first thing can handle whatever they have to do. Let me do this. Let me get a screen share going for you. Give me just a second to pop that up. Hopefully you guys are handling this heat well. almost there. Got one too many tabs open. Almost there. All right. Sometimes you have one too many tabs on the screen. We're getting there. Appreciate your patience. All right. So SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. That is what's going to really help you stay efficient and scale and grow the business. Because this way, your standard operating procedures, they can be on any site, even if you're not, right? All right. So here we go. Sharing the screen. And go. All right. So here's what we want to know. When we're doing this setup here, you want to understand that every project shouldn't feel like you're reinventing the wheel, right? The chaos, no. You want to eliminate that. So you make the standard operating procedure because it's anytime you have repetitive tasks, right? And for the most part, most sites are similar. Sure, each is unique, but you should have a basic list that anyone who shows up first thing on the job site, they should know, hey, this is what we do. This is how we handle things, right? So it creates order, it creates consistency, and it just gives everyone a benchmark to say, boom, this is how we're going to start off the day. And when your processes are documented, it makes it easy for anybody on your team to follow them. And quality becomes repeatable. You can instill this in the homeowners when you have a meeting with prospects. You can say, hey, we have a checklist for our guys to follow, right? And that's ensured that we have this certain level of professionalism and consistency across all of our jobs. Yes, I know the Smiths referred you over and they raved how well their project went. You can trust that your project will be similar because we follow the same policies, procedures, standard operating procedures, right? And you can even show them to prospects ahead of time when they are talking about why so-and-so is less expensive than you. You say, well, I'm sure they are. They should be less than us because they don't do the things that we do to ensure quality. Let me show you our SOPs. These are what the guys do on a daily basis. And they'll be like, whoa, nobody else has showed us this. So then people start recognizing, man, I knew there was a reason why they cost a few more dollars, and I can trust that my money's being well spent. Then they're willing to spend it, right? So this makes training your new staff easier, right? SOPs are really just recipes for success. This way they ensure that nothing gets forgotten in the heat of execution. Remember, guys are running behind. They're distracted. For whatever reason, they're going to miss things sometimes if they don't have it written down in a way that they can follow it. So when you use this prompt, you can outline the procedures you want. You can capture the best practices, right, for your experience and fill gaps that maybe you hadn't formalized yet. So all of this helps reduce the mental load that everyone's carrying around. It's fewer things to have to remember, and that empowers your employees to take ownership of tasks. And ultimately, you've got some solid processes, right? They'll lead to the projects that run with far less oversight, issues, and stress for everyone involved. So when it comes to the prompt itself, right, we want to make a nice checklist. So here's a sample one that I've created already with the ChatGPT. So it's the first on-site morning checklist, right? Start the day like a pro, secure, it's safe, and it's set to win, right? So the purpose of this checklist, right, is that the job site is safe, right? And before anyone swings a hammer, a strong start prevents delays. It builds client confidence and sets the tone for a productive professional day. So here we go. First man in, right? Guys should always be doing some sort of a job site walk around inside and out. They should be checking for any overnight damage, weather exposure, or vandalism, right? Did the conditions change, right? Look for any signs of like some unauthorized access or theft. And you don't want to find out the middle of the day that somebody broke in and stole a bunch of crap. You want to know first thing in the morning. So make sure that any temporary protection is still intact, like zip walls, flooring, right? Don't trust that everything from yesterday is still fine. Always double check. Also, big thing, man, I'm going to tell you right now, this perturbs a lot of people, and it's how you guys, where they park, how they park, etc. People get real finicky and funny about parking. So you should have made sure that your guys understand this is where we park on this project. This is what the homeowner wants us to park. This is where they don't want us to park. And you got to ensure that all your guys are adhering to it, because guys show up and they just think I'll park right there. And half the time that's the last spot that the homeowner wants them in, and the homeowner is going to get pissed. So again, make sure that things are parked properly and be respectful of other neighbors, things that might be going on in the neighborhood, other access, right? All right. If you have any Dropbox storages on site, if there's a dumpster, a gang box, anything like that, make sure all of that is efficient and in the right area. And make sure there's not a lot of loose trash or anything running around, right? Make sure that everything looks good. Now, confirm that all the materials, the equipment, tools, right, that everything's in good shape, and make sure batteries are charged, right? Look for the cords, look over everything, make sure everything's ready to go. And double check, hey, are we getting any deliveries today? What time? What's coming? Do we have a staging area? Are we ready to go? You don't want to be waiting, running around at the last minute when the delivery guy's already there trying to now make a space because you forgot. So also you should, the day before, your lead should, or project manager should be creating the day's like goal list. So you should have that to review and look over. And also now we want to make sure that everything's safe, right? Look around, just have a walkthrough. Before we get started, it's kind of like if you ever played a sport, you would go out on the field and you just get a feel for it, right? Especially if you played football or soccer, you'd have some warm-up drills out on the actual field. You'd run down the line, make sure this looks good, kick a few goal shots here, there, whatever. You get a feel for it. Make sure it's all ready to go. Confirm that you got your safety set up if you need it, right? Make sure any signs are posted, anything like that is required. And then, you get everything unlocked, make sure any dust protection is ready to go. And if you need any lighting or, security cameras, whatever, if you're recording, make sure all that's ready to go. And you should have a quick team meeting, right? You bring the guys together, say, hey man, here is what we're doing today. Here's who's doing what. Right, Joe, make sure when you're doing that, you look over, and if William needs some hands with something, you're ready to go for that. Be aware of it. Billy, I've got you doing this, and Steve, while you're up over there handling that, you should be looking out for this, right? And figure out who's doing what so everyone has a game plan. It's much like a coach would do with his players before you start. You're playing this position. This is who you want to be watching out for. This is what you should be doing. You do the same thing with your guys. I mean, the reality is going to work every day is like playing a game for sports. That's what you do. You show up and it's go time. All right. So you should be prepped and prepared and going through what is going to be happening. This is where a good leader comes in, and everyone knows what they're doing. This doesn't have to be long, just a couple minutes in the beginning to get everybody on the same page. The other thing it allows for is whoever your lead or project manager is, they get a sense for where's people's head at in the morning, right? Did Billy have a rough night last night? And is he coming in at 50% today? Do I need to pay attention and talk with him? Is everybody okay, ready to go? Are they in a good frame of reference, right? Is their attitude in check? All the things. So if the homeowner's around, first thing in the morning, there is someone should do some sort of a courtesy check just to let them know, hey, we're here. This is what we're doing today. And, follow any procedures that you have with the homeowner. Make sure gates are locked if that's your responsibility, whatever. All right. Be mindful of noise and dust. In our area, 7:30 is usually the time that most people, some projects you could get going at 7. So, I know some guys like to be at the job site real early. And when you're in a more rural location, you can get away with that. But if you're in, just be aware of starting times and be respectful of homeowners. Especially, you're going to find that homeowners with kids have unique policies and procedures for how they raise their children. And you may have to be a little flexible with your schedule to accommodate, especially younger parents or parents with younger kids, let's say that. And that can be something that's a differentiator. We've won several jobs because we were willing to work with the homeowner around their daughter or son's nap time. I can tell you, is it a challenge at times to work around? Sure. But are those the things that can make the difference? Absolutely. So just a reminder, man, look, the first 15 minutes of your day really can determine how the next 8 hours are going to go, right? So you treat that site like you're better than your house, right? You take care of your team, you make sure everybody knows what they're doing, and remember at all times your reputation is on the line. All right, so let's look at how this actually works if we pop this into one of the AI generators. Get these out of the way. All right, here we go. Let's expand this. So here is the actual prompt. All right, so you are a expert construction project manager. Outline a detailed step-by-step standard operating procedure for the task. Kitchen remodel, site setup, and protection. This SOP should cover all the key setup tasks before demolition begins. Items such as covering floors, protecting finishing surfaces, dust control, right? Verifying safety zones and client belonging protection. Posting permits if required, ensuring the crew brings all the required prep materials and tools before heading to the job. Explain to your crew when you hire guys, hey, if you show up on the job and then you realize that you don't have what's needed for the job, you have failed. If you've been to the site already, you should already know, for the most part, everything that you're supposed to be bringing to be prepped, right? Now, every now and then something happens on site and then there's all of a sudden this unknown, sure, then you might have to run out. But on a day-to-day basis, your guys should plan ahead. So if they know that today's demo day, before they leave your warehouse, their shop, their house, the supply house, whatever, they should do an inventory and say, do I have all the zip pulls that I need? Do I have the masking tapes that I need? Do I have the rolls of paper, ram board? Do I have my runway drop cloths, right? Whatever, furniture padding, whatever I'm supposed to have in the vehicle, do I have it? Do I have the dust extract set up, right? Do I have the tubing and the fan, and do I have a filter to put on the other end? Like all the things that should all be done ahead of time so that when you show up on the site, you're ready to go. All right, we're going to include things like conducting physical and visual inspections, right, of everything, and format this as a checklist or a numbered SOP entry, right, that you could directly paste and hand to any crew member. You can put it in a manual or job site binder. Use professional language that's clear and a tone of accountability and pride. Emphasize the importance of being fully prepared for arriving to the client's home. And then boom, we hit go. And here comes the kitchen remodel site setup. Now, if you're a general remodeler and you're doing bathrooms, kitchens, then you want to make this a little more general. If you're a specialist, then make it more specific. All right, guys, so there you have it. We have a nice checklist, right? And they're going to review the scope of work, confirm that the prep steps are required, check for things, zip pulls, ram board, drop cloths, dust barriers, all the things, right? They're going to park professionally. They're going to greet the client. That should all be done. Most of us nowadays are sending some sort of a text message whenever your crew is en route. Whether you have an automated system, there's someone in your office that has a list of all the jobs, and they reach out to Bill and they say, hey, Bill, what time do you expect to arrive to the Smiths? Perfect. I'm going to send the Smiths a text message, right? If your crew is smaller, then the individual guys should be doing that, but somebody needs to be coordinating the client communication. Man, those little things go such a long way. We have some more protection and setup checkboard lists here, and the safety permits, final demo checks, accountability reminder, right? If you forget it, the team pays for it. And what I'm saying is, guys have to understand that we are professionals, so we have to act like professionals, and that means we prepare and we go over things. And when we show up, we work well. and more efficient. So at the end of the day, they're going to take your lead. If you're disorganized, if you don't do anything ahead of time, then good luck getting your guys to do it as well. So I'm going to stop that. I think you guys get the message at this point and understand that, at the end of the day, you are responsible. So that's day 8 of the 30-day AI prompt challenge for Remodeler. At this point, you should be very comfortable and capable and start understanding that the most effective results, again, from AI come from you understanding how to speak to it, to direct it, so that you do a good input, you're going to get good output. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you back here tomorrow for day number 9 already. Boom.